First question for this week. Doug, I have a client that was recently diagnosed with an MRSA infection. I know these are more serious than typical infections, so I was wondering if I should refuse to provide her services, or should I be doing something different to protect myself? Well, for those that don't know, MRSA stands for Methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus. Well, that's a mouthful, which is why this organism is typically called MRSA. This is a bacterial infection that's transmitted by direct contact with a surface that has been previously contaminated by a person carrying this infectious bacteria. The infection usually starts as an infection in the deep layers of the skin, not just on the surface. Typically, MRSA infections form abscesses and may drain fluid. MRSA is a mutation of another more common bacteria known for causing staph infections. The difference is that these mutated bacteria are resistant to many of the common antibiotics that would normally be used to treat a staph infection. This makes the MRSA infections more difficult to treat, but they can be treated and cured. These infections are on the decline, largely because hospitals are doing a better job of preventing transmission of this infection, but these infections do occur in the general public as well. For healthy people with no cuts, abrasions or breaks in the skin, they have a pretty low risk of developing an infection. But experts estimate that about 1% of the population is infected with this bacteria but has no outward symptoms, which makes them carriers of the pathogen. Should you refuse service to a client with this type of infection? No. An infected client is not going to spread an infection simply by touching things. This is like having a staph infection that's harder to cure, but you wouldn't want a staph infection either. If a client has an open sore near the area where the service is to be performed, then no service should be provided. That's true for any type of infection. However, if she has no open sores or exposed sores that you could come in contact with, well, the chances of you being infected are very unlikely. If you don't cut the client, you probably have nothing to worry about. If you do cut them, then using proper procedures for cleaning and disinfection when dealing with a cut will ensure you're protected. If you don't know or follow the proper protocols for dealing with cuts, that's a bigger problem that should be corrected.